In our previous tutorial, we showed you how to find your way around the scan interface. Now let's look at how to analyze your results and perform identifications. We'll cover single file identification, simple bulk identification using top matched components, detailed folder identification, handling commercial and proprietary components, reviewing and correcting identifications, and finally, using search wildcards during identification. Now, a quick disclaimer. Auditing source code for third-party components is quite a specialized task. If you're new to the process or this isn't your day job, you may want some assistance. FossID provides a couple options. First, a baselining service is when FossID auditors will not only configure your scans, but also complete the initial scan and identification process you'll see in this tutorial. The result? The heavy lift is done for you, and you have a strong baseline on which you only have to audit future code changes. Second, for ongoing support in the form of a managed service, FossID provides a virtual open source auditor, which is basically a fractional teammate that acts as your software composition analysis expert for a given amount of hours over a given amount of months that fits your need. You may benefit from one or both. Just reach out to your solution advisor for help. Okay, now on to the tutorial. We'll start with the most common workflow, single file identification. Go to the Pending ID tab to see files that still need identifications. In the file tree, select a file. The match list and identification box appear. Review the matches in the match list and decide which one best represents the file. Once you find the correct match, click Use as Identification on that match. The component, license, and copyright fields in the identification box are automatically filled in where data is available. You can adjust or add additional details if needed. When you're done, check the Identified box. The file moves from Pending ID to Identified. For partial matches, you may not want to apply a license to the entire file. Instead, you can apply a snippet license. In the identification box, click Add License. Choose whether the license applies to the entire file or to a snippet. For snippet level usage, select Snippet and complete the fields. As an auditing best practice, whenever you assign a snippet license, add a comment with a link or reference to the origin of the snippet. This creates a clear audit trail and helps reviewers understand your decision. If the same file with an identical fingerprint already exists in another project or scan, you'll see a fingerprint icon. Click the fingerprint icon to view existing identifications. Review the proposed identifications. Select and apply the one that fits your current context. This lets you reuse previous work instead of re-auditing identical files from scratch. Sometimes, after reviewing all matches, you may conclude that none of the matches are actually relevant to the file. In that case, you can move the file out of Pending ID without assigning a component or license. To do this, leave the identification box blank. Check the Identified box. This is called a blank identification. It confirms that you've reviewed the file and its matches, but chose not to assign anything. Now let's switch gears to simple bulk identifications. When multiple files in a folder clearly belong to the same component, you can use simple bulk identification. In the file tree, select a folder. The top matched components view appears. Find the component that clearly represents a set of files. You'll see a file count for each component. Open the menu to the right of the correct component and select Identify Files Matching. A dialog opens where you can confirm the component name, confirm or adjust the version, confirm or adjust the license, and optionally mark all these files as identified. When you confirm, the identifications are applied in bulk to all files that match that component in the selected folder. This approach saves significant time when dealing with consistent, clearly matched components. So that is simple bulk identifications. Now, for more advanced bulk operations, use detailed folder identification. From the directory path, open the menu next to the directory path. Select Apply Folder Identification. This opens a dialog where you can define exactly which files in that folder you want to identify and what information to apply. Important: the component you want to apply must already exist in the component database. You can create it manually or by first applying a single file identification for that component. The Apply Only To section lets you filter which files in the folder will be affected. You can choose, for example, files with extension such as .c, files named for specific file names like jQuery, files with MD5, only files with a specific MD5 hash, files with SHA1, only files with a specific SHA1, files with SHA256, only files with a specific SHA256, or files with license, files that already have a particular file or snippet license. As you change these filters, the interface updates the count of files that will be affected. Always double-check this count before applying a bulk operation. In the Identification Information section, you set what gets written into each file's identification box: component, license, copyright, comment and whether the comment should be included in reports, and the distribution selector, which controls whether the not distributed flag is applied. All of these will be applied to the selected set of files as one operation. At the bottom, the identification toggles give you control over how the operation interacts with existing identifications. The first toggle controls how files with existing identifications are handled. Preserve existing identifications. Files that already have identifications are excluded from the operation. Override files with identifications. The operation will affect files even if they already have identifications. Existing component identifications are removed or replaced with the new component. File licenses are preserved unless you provide new license values. And copyrights are preserved unless you provide new copyright values. The second toggle controls whether to mark files as identified. When turned on, all affected files are marked as identified after the operation. When turned off, you can apply partial information but keep the files in pending ID for further review. Use these toggles carefully to avoid unintentionally overwriting previous audit work. Software composition analysis is more than identifying just open source software. It includes identifying any third-party software, even commercial or sometimes certain proprietary components, but we'll cover that in a separate tutorial for you. Thanks for watching how to audit your scan results in FossID Workbench.